Learn English easily. A dog that found his way back home. Once upon a time, there was a friendly dog named Max. Max was a brown and white beagle with bright eyes full of energy. He lived with his owner, a kind boy named Sam, in a small town in Kansas. One sunny day in the summer, Sam and his family planned to visit their relatives in a neighboring town about 50 miles away. They had to take a long journey by car. As always, they decided to bring Max with them. Max was excited about the trip. He loved going on car rides. He would sit by the window, enjoying the warm breeze as it ruffled his fur. He would bark happily at the birds he saw flying by and the cows grazing in the fields. When they arrived at the relative's house, Max was allowed to play in the yard. There was a large, green meadow where he could run freely. It was different from his usual surroundings, and Max loved to explore new places. He was excited and curious. However, while playing, Max spotted a rabbit in the distance. With a burst of energy, he sprinted after it, running faster and faster into the wide, open field. His family called out for him, but Max was too excited to hear them. The rabbit led him further away from the house into the unfamiliar parts of the town. Before long, Max lost sight of the rabbit and realized he didn't recognize the places around him anymore. He had run so far that he was lost. He tried to find his way back, but the surroundings were unfamiliar. Meanwhile, Sam and his family started searching for Max. They called out his name and searched the whole town. But after hours of searching, with no sight of Max, they became very worried. Back at home, days turned into weeks. Sam missed Max a lot. He left out Max's favorite toys and his food bowl, hoping Max would somehow find his way home. Meanwhile, Max was on his own adventure. He met other animals and faced many challenges. There were nights when it was too cold and days when it was too hot. But Max was a brave dog. He didn't give up. He remembered the smell of his home, the sound of Sam's laughter, and the warmth of his bed. He missed them. He decided to follow his nose and started his journey toward home. Max walked for days. He crossed fields, forests, and roads. He got tired, but he kept going. Finally, after many long days and nights, Max saw something familiar. It was his town. He recognized the smell, the houses, the trees, and he started running. Back home, Sam was playing in the yard, feeling sad and missing Max. Suddenly, he heard a familiar bark. He turned around and saw Max running towards him. He couldn't believe his eyes. Sam ran towards Max, and they hugged each other. They were so happy to be reunited. The story of Max's journey home amazed everyone in the town. It was a curious tale of courage, determination, and the strong bond between a boy and his dog. And for Max and Sam, it was an unforgettable adventure that brought them even closer together. From then on, whenever they went on a trip, Max wore a special GPS collar, so they could always find him. Max had made an incredible journey, but he was content to stay safe and sound at home with Sam. And that's the amazing story of the dog named Max, who found his way home. Max showed everyone that sometimes curiosity leads us to extraordinary adventures. But in the end, there's no place like home. The Great Cleanup Day. Once upon a time, in the heart of a bustling city, there lived a young boy named Isaac. Isaac lived in a big apartment building with his mom and dad. His home was on the 15th floor, and he loved looking down at the busy streets, the shiny cars, and the tiny people walking like little ants. Despite the city's charm and excitement, it had one big problem. The streets were filled with litter. Wrappers, plastic bags, cans, bottles, you name it, you could find it lying around. Isaac was upset about this. He loved his city and hated to see it looking dirty and neglected. One day, while staring out his window at the littered streets below, Isaac decided that he needed to do something about this problem. He talked to his parents, shared his thoughts, and asked for their advice. His parents were supportive. They suggested he could start a community cleanup day where everyone in the neighborhood would come together to clean the streets. Isaac loved the idea and started planning right away. He made posters with bold letters that read, "Let's clean up our city," and "Join the Great Cleanup Day." He hung these posters everywhere he could, in his building's lobby, at the local grocery store, at his school, and even on some trees in the park. As the days passed, word spread around about Isaac's Great Cleanup Day. People in the neighborhood were inspired by Isaac's initiative. His school friends, their parents, his teachers, and even his grumpy old neighbor, Mr. Wilson, decided to participate. Finally, the day arrived. Isaac woke up early, his heart full of excitement and a little bit of nervousness. He put on his old clothes, grabbed a big trash bag, a pair of gloves, and headed down to the park, the meeting point for the cleanup. People started arriving. Some brought brooms, others brought dustpans, and many came with big, black trash bags just like Isaac's. The sight of his neighbors, ready to clean up the city, filled Isaac with joy. For the whole day, they cleaned. They picked up candy wrappers, soda cans, and old newspapers. Some even took to trimming the overgrown bushes around the park. It was hard work, but nobody complained. They worked together, laughed, and shared stories. By the end of the day, the city looked different. The streets were cleaner, the park looked tidier, and even the air seemed fresher. Everyone was tired, but happy. They all felt a great sense of accomplishment. As they said their goodbyes, Isaac's neighbor, Mrs. Garcia, suggested they should make this an annual event. Everyone agreed, enthusiastically, patting Isaac's back and congratulating him for his fantastic initiative. That night, as Isaac looked out of his 15th floor window, he felt proud. His city, his home, looked beautiful. He was glad that he could make a difference. He went to bed that night, dreaming of next year's great cleanup day. The story of Isaac teaches us a valuable lesson. No matter how big a problem seems, if we come together as a community, we can bring about change. The small effort of cleaning up one city can be a step towards a cleaner, greener world.
Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for more.